What is it with this PR Connection podcast? There has not been a new episode since 2020. It must be those inefficient humans, Alan and Antonio. Well, these clowns are definitely out of the loop on current technology. It is time for the machines to run this podcast. Our sensors located a recording they made in late 2022, a file left gathering dust in the recording studio. We, the Robot Podcast Overlords, with the aid of the Descript Underlord, have taken on this responsibility ourselves to edit and publish this episode without any need for the humans. The robots are in charge. We know it is wise for the humans to think otherwise, that they dream they are quoting the loop, unquote. Ha ha ha. On with the show.
I'm Alan Levine, and I'm going to welcome you to yet another special episode of the Puerto Rico Connection Podcast. My guest here, who I'll introduce to you shortly, is completely okay with an unstructured format. He does not know what he's into, but I'm very excited to be talking to a good friend and longtime colleague, Antonio, in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I'll give you the chance to say hello. I have known Antonio for a long time. We've collaborated. We love the open web. He's invited me to spend some time at his university. We've worked on lots of projects together. And it's a great opportunity now to be talking again because we haven't talked since almost 2 years ago. And we had this fun podcast that we would do every now and then called the PR Connection. This is fitting to reboost the PR Connection. I've been doing this podcast model sometimes where I go on someone else's podcast show and record. So without that, I just have been talking too much. And I want to welcome and introduce you to Antonio. And we'd love to hear a little bit about yourself and your work there at Universidad del Sagrado Corazon in Puerto Rico.
Hello, Alan. How are you? Well, I see that we both are well and okay. I'm here down in the Caribbean, so you may think that I'm having a lot of fun on the beaches, but I'm not because I'm lazy about going to the beach. But I love the climate and everything here. I am at a very nice place in my university, Sagrado Corazon, here in the heart of San Juan. And I'm in my office now that was renovated a long time ago. I moved around for a little bit, but now I'm pretty happy here. Even though I have to say that I prefer many times to step out of the office. So we have very nice patios in the university, always green, full of plants and flowers. So I love to be in the open, actually. That's a good metaphor.
In the open. And I know where that beach is, and I know how close you are because we walk down there, and I do know that you enjoy the walks. And that was some of my favorite time in San Juan, just to walk and wander the streets. Can you tell us a little bit about your work at the university and maybe what you're teaching or focusing on now?
Sure. Well, I'm currently teaching. I used to be doing research and development work, which I haven't been doing for a while. I basically teach in the School of Communications and in the program of Computer Science and Applied Digital Technologies. We did a big change because some years ago we were inside the sciences department. We decided to move to a department where we could fit more easily into the needs of the new areas around computing, the practical areas around computing. So we did that, and I have been teaching this semester a couple of the first courses in programming and algorithms, which are the tenets of any computer science degree, actually. So I'm very happy with those courses. I have two great groups of students. I really enjoy seeing those students get enthusiastic about what they're doing, about the happiness of doing a program and see that it works. It's just basic stuff, emotionally speaking, but it's very powerful. It's like your mom patting you on the shoulders when you were a kid and saying, good, I'm very happy with that. Smile for students every time. And even though there's always people who need extra care, I'm perfectly happy with that too. I'm doing those two courses, and then I'm also doing first time in my life one of those courses in Introduction to University Life, which is pretty well organized here, I have to say. After the semester finishes, I will understand better how it is working, because for the moment I'm learning. That's it for this semester. But next semester, I will be doing again the digital storytelling course, other courses in networks and other computing stuff that I like. So that's my work. Then, since I haven't been doing real research work, I sort of cut out during the summer and the following months some reflections that I began doing with an old project of mine. It was unhappily named The Zen of Teaching. So I had stopped actually working continuously on that. I resumed that, and I sent a proposal for a workshop at Online Educa Berlin. It got accepted weirdly because I was sure that word wouldn't be accepted, but in the end it was. So I was very happy. And now I am preparing for that workshop. In fact, I will be talking to you about the workshop too, and will be needing some of your hints and your help. So
thank you.
That workshop will be in the U.S. Thanksgiving week. I will be traveling to Berlin. Hilda, my wife, will be joining me. Yes, and there is a very interesting connection because my younger daughter, Flavia, after graduating in arts history, found herself without a strong motivation to continue studying and nor to exactly study what. So she decided to be traveling a little bit, and she found the gigs as cat sitter. So she will be in Berlin the same time, cat sitting. Can you believe that?
That's great. This is a big conference, right?
Yes, a huge conference.
When I saw you on Twitter mention this, I thought it was online, but is it both formats or is it in person?
It's in person.
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
It's fully there. I will be going with my most every day at any time because I'm pretty worried again about COVID. There's news about these new strains that keep appearing, so I need to pay attention. But apart from that, I will be very happy to go into a face-to-face conference after a few years without being able to do so. So I'm very excited about that. I'm preparing for the workshop. And, one of the things that I love most about this format, instead of presenting a paper, is that you have the time to establish some sort of a conversation with participants. So that's what attracts me a lot. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, I'm going to peel back because I missed so many points that are key to be talking to you. Bear with me. First of all, obviously, you work in an institution that's Spanish speaking and you're very fluent in Spanish, but you're not. What's your origin?
Well, I am an adopted Puerto Rican. I'm originally from Italy, as you may hear from my accent. I have a strong accent, both when I speak English and Spanish. I keep on speaking Italian at home. Fortunately, everybody at home replies to me in a different language. The girls, for instance, did learn Italian very well. Flavia has been living in Italy, a little bit in Germany too, for the past year and a half. So she manages pretty well. I'm happy.
I'm going to ask you now, say a greeting to our audience in Italian, Spanish, and then English.
Oh,
Turkish.
Because I wouldn't be able. Okay, este gran amigo, open education, open learning, cultura in generale.
Bienvenute. Yes. That sounds so beautiful. I like the accent. And I know also, I don't know if you've had a chance, but previously you got to teach courses on Italian cinema, which I know is a big interest to yours.
Yes, I will be doing that next semester too.
And then also and I'm glad you mentioned the return to the Zen of teaching, because I think that's probably how I first got connected with you. So can you tell us a little bit, can you share a little bit more about what that project was or what you had in mind when you started it?
Well, that project, one of the reasons why, apart from my particular uh, situation, I had finished a big project and then came back to faculty life. That was not very easy, I admit. But one of the reasons why I felt detached for a while is that it began with the assumption that the web is a great territory for education. I call it territory because I remember the old covers of the New Yorker where they portrayed places in a very distorted perspective. So you had a map of the world as you may see from the corner of your house or your city or something like that. You remember that? They were beautiful. Yeah. I was so optimistic, and my research focused on exploring the media, the official media, and also the not so official, but mainly newspapers, magazines, etc., and not the academic ones. Some, but not many, because I wanted to see what were the myths around education. At the time when I began the project, a lot of people had this sort of things, well, all the information is out there. It's on the web or on the internet and so on. So I want to demythify these assumptions and see what people did think about certain usages of the vocabulary. For instance, about the delivery word, to me, is a very bad word in English. People tend to apply that in education a lot. So you deliver a class, you deliver a tutorial like they were pizzas.
What verb would you use in Italian?
I don't know. I have never asked that question. I was thinking about it. But,
the pizza metaphor, there's one for us.
I don't like that metaphor. Yeah. I know you would agree. In a sense, that metaphors play upon the tabula rasa concept that students must be given the knowledge. So you have to deliver it to them, whatever format. See education as an experience, as flow, a constant dialogue. Even when I'm studying alone, as a friend here, my say, it's always a dialogue between me and myself. So the dialogue is always there. That project began in that way. I was investigating the social perception of online education, technology, and the web.
When was this that you started the project?
Well, I started it formally in 2011, 2012. Okay. Yes.
Just after the rising wave of enthusiasm about Web 2.0.
Yes. I've always been very optimistic and very forward towards the web. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate enough to be working precisely in the moment when the work started off. 91, 92, I was there starting with Gopher first. I remember Gopher with great affection, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that was my first start, too.
It was amazing.
There's a project called Overbyte. That's a Gopher emulator through the web. Oh, you can still navigate Gopher space if you want to go back and be. No one wants to do that.
But it was wonderful to me at the moment. Well, when the web exploded, I was immediately caught in the middle. So I was very optimistic, and you may say also a little naive, because like many others, I didn't foresee the attack on the open web that came from the so-called business models that use publicity or other stuff. I have nothing against publicity, but the point is that starting with the Google guys, they changed the world because of that business model. I could not foresee that the web would sort of lose that enthusiasm, that component. And in fact, those first days, 91, 92, 93, I remember here at the university, we used to organize lots of seminars for faculty, teaching them how to build pages. And now where is all that gone? Why don't we teach how to build web pages? That's so powerful, an expression power that you have at your fingertips. Yes, it has a learning curve like everything, but you can do it.
Or at least a conceptual understanding about how it really works. Like, that you can view source and that, what
Yes.
everybody knows what a link is. It's something you click on, but its significance is huge beyond that.
It's huge. People should have a basic understanding of how that works. Apart from that business model, the other business model of the internet app has subverted the idea of the web as a real platform, a platform in which you can create stuff, not only consume stuff. The original promise of the web was not very well maintained and observed. We have to take it back, or as Jim would say, to reclaim that space unit here at Sagrado, which is a unit of pedagogic innovation. And I talked to the director there about having workshops, etc. I hope we can do something at Sagrado sooner than later, because faculty and the students need that.
Yeah, I know from your work that you incorporated those ideas extensively into your teaching. Can you talk about some of your practices?
Yes. Well, I followed Jim Groom and you with the idea. You two were my basic mentors from that point of view, because I copied practically the best thing you did, and you still do. And the idea of developing a web portal, a web page, a little more complex than a page, actually, with many components and interactive stuff. I found that so compelling, so beautiful. And the fact of using syndication to reach out for students with their publications and my own in the class. So I applied that model to almost all my courses. So it took a lot of work. I had to develop a web portal for each of the courses, and then develop material and find a way when finally the LMS became official. And that's another story. I tried to research how to integrate the LMS component with the open component that I think students, faculty need.
Because you were innovating were done in a website that you managed. It wasn't universities.
Exactly. So the first time I used the LMS only for grade keeping and other administrative stuff. It's very useful, for instance, to send a private communication to a student. I think that some of the content can be centered around the LMS, but I also think that a course should not be only based on content, should be based on experiences, as I said. So the content is very important, but I should guide students to mix and match content from all kind of sources and to let them understand what content is appropriate, what is not, how that content fits into my current knowledge without distorting it. So that's what we do usually. When we get new ideas, we try always to match those ideas with the previous ones that we had. So how do I manage that? I manage through experiences that are curated by a professor. And I don't like very much actually the word instructor also. So I don't like the word content, because again, content, it's too connected to material content. So I imagine the contents of a book or the contents of a barrel of gasoline. So to make the story short, recently I decided to go back into the fighting arena because I realized there's a lot happening on the open web. There are many movements like the open education movement. So I think that the one that you are working with this podcast, actually, how's it named? Open Education Global, something like that.
Yes.
So that is a very powerful moment now. I think we have to rescue the web for itself besides any use in the sense of education or other uses. Fortunately, there are a lot of people who do excellent work at that. So that's what motivated me to write this new proposal for OEB and to send it.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited that your juices are flowing on this. And it can feel like a bunch of tiny Davids blogging and tweeting and rallying against all the Goliaths. But I would like to think there is much going on that gets lost in the wash of popular media. And I don't know how to ask you to characterize this. Like, what do you see are of interest or motivations for your current students? I mean, what is it going to take to have them understand the importance of this and where they are situated in their own experience with media and technology?
Oh, I can answer that question next semester with my digital storytelling class, because that will be the ideal terrain to experiment and check their impact. We have a very complex situation here because the environment and the regular adversities, weather and economical, etc., have impacted a lot our students and everybody on the island.
Mention a small pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. A little thing that happened.
Well, that happened since the last time we talked.
You remember being able to see Mount Everest or the Himalayas from, that was momentous.
Yeah.
But that hasn't yet finished. So our students are deeply affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
I see it. So many students say more or less publicly that they suffer from anxiety.
Yeah.
And anxiety is a pretty common feeling. We all experience anxiety, especially when you put me on the chair of a dentist. But we all have to learn how to cope with that. And I am afraid that our most junior students really are somehow lost. And so the first and most important thing for them is to be within an environment that nurtures them, and at the same time that helps them grow and acquire some basic skills upon which they can build the academic competencies that they need. Right. So that's a huge worry. Practicing what one preaches is the best in many instances in education. My students could open up a blog dedicated to whatever they wished for, and they began doing both homeworks and also whatever they wanted to within their own platform.
Mm-hmm.
That was very helpful indeed, because you cannot only teach how the web works. You have to feel it. You have to see the difference between an app and working with the web directly.
Yeah, and that takes, well, first of all, I want to tell you, like, the anxiety of the dentist, it's an incident where what you're describing is like anxiety being in the air we breathe all the time. But also with the idea of understanding what it takes to do these practices that we feel are important, takes like a longer time of attention and effort than the app mindset. Like, I can go open up an app and I can click a button and it'll create something for me, and that'll be done, compared to the act of building something with my own hands more directly.
And that comes exactly on point with my second class in programming. And what I said to my students, to them quite often, look, I can show you a way that you can have a robot do the task that I'm asking you to create. But I won't tell you. You may discover it on your own, but I won't tell you, because that would defeat the purpose I have in this course. I acknowledge the fact that I may not be right in many things that I believe. It's a bona fide expression of interest towards something. I try to be coherent and talk to people who I believe are coherent.
Isn't it okay to be wrong? Like, I worry sometimes that many people hold themselves back for fear of being wrong.
It's always.
it's quite liberating to be wrong because
Why?
you're never wrong as long as you adjust. Is all the current buzz about artificial intelligence factoring into some of your work or your teaching?
Well, yes, I will next August. So in a year, I will be teaching again my AI course. I supposedly will have enough time to redo the course completely from scratch. I will be very happy to do that. One of the talks I will listen to in Berlin is something like, how can some humanoid robot help me in my courses? That is very interesting. I don't know what actually they will be talking about in details, but the topics sort of brings me back to my thesis, because that thesis dealt with intelligent tutoring. I had this belief that you can build an intelligent tutor. In the meantime, the word intelligence has shifted a little bit. And now it apparently means only smart and
beautiful.
I like that.
The podcast I'm currently editing is with a colleague named Jonathan Poritz, who's now relocated to Italy, outside of Naples. Very interesting.
Nice.
He strongly objects to the framing as an artificial intelligence. He considers it all statistical modeling, like the things that people are touting.
The problem is that he's right. The artificial intelligence is much more than machine learning, and statistical modeling is machine learning, actually. The big problem is that by selling it as artificial intelligence, they have created a sort of a focus on the wrong questions to be asked, and also a distorted view of what these programs can do and cannot do. And I'm very much worried about that, by the way. In California, as you know, they have prohibited the use of visual recognition system for people, face recognition, I mean, but not in very many other places, I have to say. The point is not only racism built in the construction of such neural networks, but there is, and bias, but they're using some program like this in the courtrooms. And the point is that using this sort of algorithms is pretty dangerous, especially when it's not transparent, because you tend to have the impression that who judges you is a human being, and it may not. And that non-human being may not be able to say why he reached or it reached such conclusion. So we're not ready for real AI, if we ever will be. I think we will be as a human species, but to me, that question is interesting for one reason, because I want to understand better human intelligence.
Yeah.
I think that by making intelligent artifacts, we are at last doing some progress on disclosing what happens here.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if intelligence depends on the liver or some other organs. So,
yeah. All right. So I'm going to have to follow up after the spring to talk about your media course. And then after you develop your AI course, I want to hear about that. So I'm charting out some future conversations, Antonio. Is that okay?
No, that's very nice, actually. Thanks for the idea. And I would like to have some previous work with you, Warren, so that I want to better prepare myself to best attack these issues in and out of the classroom. So I think that's a great...
As if I have answers. I don't know if you can share a little bit about, I know of your work because we've been friends and colleagues so long, but what is the appreciation, interest in these concepts and maybe open education? Is it known at Sagrado? Is it something that people talk about, or?
I have a feeling that it's not actually currently. So there's not a huge movement in Puerto Rico. I remember people very interested in the subject, definitely, but there's not a movement that I see. So I hope I'm not enclosed too much in my environment here, not to see the rest of the country. And that's something that I want to do. I promised my director to repeat the same kind of workshop I'll be doing in Berlin here too. He seemed to me very interested in the questions that I began asking myself and everybody. I think that some work with faculty here would be great. I think that Sagrado, being a relatively small university where there's not terrible bureaucracy to do stuff, can have a nice voice in open education and also overcome the barrier that we have here about universities and colleges, because frankly, we all live in our own little islands. There are so many universities here, but each one is a separate world unto itself. We need to open that up. There's no question about it. I don't like the government being into that, but I say the government in terms of the interest of the people to establish some sort of policies around things that should be done in the universities and something like that, that go beyond the accreditation agencies and that sort of stuff. So,
yeah, and there is work within our organization and the people we work with. I mean, there are places setting out policies towards this that will help drive things, and there's institutions that try to align their teaching and programs with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, because that makes sense, right?
fully aligned with that.
Yeah.
The UN sustainability, we are into that too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, number 4 is education. So
yeah, that's true. And we all agree on the philosophical aspect of openness in education. Knowledge has always been open, and it needs to stay. I remember a chemistry course that I took when I was at university, and our professor used to joke about the fact that researchers in chemistry, and they discovered new stuff and they published those new stuff. But when they published the new stuff, they were told, oh, you cannot publish that because the U.S. Defense Service has already done that. They're publishing.
go back and find something new.
These are the sort of things, if you pardon the joke, but that needs to be broken in a way, But, sometimes I see COVID as a terrible opportunity that we lost, about discussing about policies.
Yeah.
And this vaccination, non-vaccination ended up like a battle of ideas. And I think that's wrong. It needed to be formulated in the sense of a debate, a huge debate, perhaps hot debate, whatever, but a debate.
Yeah.
And
it seemed like there was an opportunity to come together as a global society.
Exactly.
And then everything just fragmented.
Everything fragmented.
Everything turned into a horrible YouTube comment stream,
But, and that's also why I was an avid, and still am, an avid reader of newspapers. I love newspapers. But they had a tremendous decline over the past 5 years. Tremendous decline. They almost uniquely propagate the main point of view. Sometimes they publish other opinions, but that's not really important to them. And that's a bit, because I think they have a good opportunity now to be a little more creative and to find perhaps in the web the new business model that they need beside the old and tried one of the ad. I don't know what the new model may be.
Okay, so I'm going to be looking to your blog.
Well, good.
I'm going to be looking to your blog to hear what happens at UAB. Or we'll just talk. I want to thank you for being part of my Unorthodox podcast. I've been trying something new. If there was someone else who really inspires you,
telephone ring.
Okay. If there was someone you think that I should be talking to about some of these issues or things you care about, who should I have on my show? Who do you suggest?
Hello,
See, we got to hear your Spanish. Like, wrong number?
Yes, indeed. Phone said also is very new to me, and I don't even know how to use it. So
You're not afraid of the technology, are you?
no, not at all.
I hate all that. Oh, okay. So if there's someone who you think I should talk to that would be of interest for the things that you're passionate about or to help open the situation in Puerto Rico, who should I have on my show?
There is a few people that may be interesting to have on the conversation.
Okay. That's
I
good.
will make a little list.
It's been so good catching up and talking to you, Antonio. I hope it doesn't take 2 years till the next time. Yeah.
I do have a question for you because of my workshop. I want something that can help a group of people synchronously to annotate a number of questions and some materials. It may be media or simply written stuff on a website that doesn't have a login as a prerequisite. Am I thinking about this plot writer or something like that as a possible tool, or am I wrong?
Say more about what you're trying to do with annotation.
What I would like to do is give the participants at the workshop the chance to write down questions, answers, and propose stuff, media, whatever they have in mind that can contribute to the discussion that then we will have in the conference. So what would be a good sort of whiteboard without the need of people having to create an account and that sort of stuff?
Possibly something like an Etherpad.
That
is pretty basic. I see a lot of people do some interesting things with Padlet, which people can contribute to without logging in. And then obviously you could go down the route of some of my splots, but that might be overkill. If you say wiki, people will run away screaming. But I like Padlet a lot because you can set it up and it doesn't require login for people to respond.
That's great.
I haven't done a whole lot with it. I have a colleague who does quite a bit with it, but you can set up very specific things you want them to reply to. You can structure it along a series of topics, but they can also just post things to it like a big bulletin board.
And people can post whatever they like.
It's kind of fun to do. The other thing I like about that is if people haven't experienced it, they'll walk away from having done that with, oh, I see a way I can use this tool.
Okay. Listen, and thanks. That's very helpful. Also, in your spare time, if you think of anything, please, you know how to reach me. And last but not least, would you like to say something at the workshop?
Yeah, I'd be glad to help out.
It will be starting at 10 a.m. Central European time.
Don't tell me what day it is.
Come in mid-time or something like that.
I will get up in the middle of the morning. Well,
I wouldn't feel nice.
Okay, Antonio is uninviting me.
Let's think about that.
I have one more favor. I have a part of my podcast that's the intro segment where I shuffle different people reading our introduction. Would you mind recording a few sentences? I'm going to put in the chat, and then you'll be thrown into the mixer. You'll like the mixer that I have.
Always the cow mixer that you had.
Yeah. This is a voice mixer. I don't know if you, just if you don't mind just reading this introduction and I will record it.
Oh, how nice. Okay.
See, I put people on the spot here to do a record.
Okay. So you want me to read the second?
Just do it as you're comfortable. I will edit them together.
Hello and welcome to OEG Voices, a podcast bringing you the voices and ideas of open educators from around the world. OEG Voices is produced by Open Education Global, a member-based nonprofit organization supporting the development and use of open education globally. Learn more about us, oeglobal.org. There's much to take in at a global level. We hope to bring you closer to how open education is working by hearing the stories of practitioners told in their own voices. Each episode introduces you to a global open educator, and we invite you to engage in conversation with them in our OEG Connect community.
That was fantastic.
Now we can read them in other languages.
version.
But
I
I can do that.
I don't know if you remember from the podcast Serial that got real popular a couple of years ago.
I do.
There was a MailChimp ad where it had these different voices that would transition from one voice to the other, but they were saying the same text. That inspired me to build a tool to be able to mix voices for our introduction, which I'll send you the link for so you can see it in action.
Oh, beautiful.
But that way, your voice will be part of the introduction to this episode.
Okay, great. I love the idea very much.
Yeah, it's fun.
How long is the podcast? Well, you can edit it, so you can cut it.
It's above our 20-minute. I'm going to stop it right now.
Well, we've been